Really? Thank you. Thank you. That is fun. Hokey material, but what?
Fun.
In the style of Moliere, you know, just kind of. My first guest is a good friend. I've been a fan of Bob's ever since I heard his first record out of Chicago. He is starting the 5th season of his show at a new time, which is 9 p.m. Mondays, and starting September the 29th. He has been nominated again this year as Best Actor in a comedy role. What else? Would you welcome Bob Newhart?
I'm indebted to you for bringing me out after a sketch that worked. I don't know how many I've done. I think it's the first time.
Yeah, we've had sketches before.
You've had some, yeah.
Things have not
and you
gone
tend
well.
to bring them back to the desk. You know, you don't leave them there. You know.
Do you ever do? If you have a bad show or a bad night, do you take it home and say, "Oh boy, what happened"? Do you get nasty, mean, sullen?
No,
just
not really. I kind of know during the week if it's going to be bad.
Really?
Yeah, you can kind of. I mean, we do 24 shows, and you know they're not all going to be. You love them to be, but they're not all going to be great.
Yeah.
And they're going to be 4 or 5 a year, and it's just part of doing it. And you're back next week, and next week it's a good show, and you forget about it. I mean, that's.
Congratulations on the Emmy nomination.
Thank you.
This is what, your 4th or 5th? That's right.
This is the 4th nomination, and it really is true. I mean, I'm highly honored to be included. That's all. I mean, whether I win or lose.
I remember, I think it was just about a year before I started this show. 60, 61, you were working CBS. Your show, was it 61?
It was NBC.
NBC. You were nominated for an Emmy, and the show was off before the Emmy cast came about or something like that.
No. What happened was it was a show that year, everybody who got an Emmy, I didn't get an Emmy, but the show got an Emmy as the best comedy show.
Right.
Every show that got an Emmy had been canceled.
I remember that. It was very strange.
Dick Van Dyke had been canceled, and I'd been canceled, and we got an Emmy, and every show had been canceled. And as the names were announced, people in the audience were going, no! No, I don't want it, please.
Knowing that they were going to be next.
But the first show was a variety show I did in 61, 62, and that was critically acclaimed.
I know it.
Commercially, it was not that well received.
Right.
Our lowest rating, we got a -7, in the Nielsen, and the way you get a -7 is not only is no one watching the show, but several people without TV sets had heard about it and said they wouldn't watch it even if they had on it.
That's a negative, bad.
And then you wind up owing viewers to other networks, and it's just...
Negative flow.
Yeah.
I got to pay you a compliment. I was coming back from New York last week, and they were playing your album.
Oh.
One of your early albums, I think, the Button Down Mine or something, and I found myself literally, you know when you were listening to something and somebody else is not, and you're laughing out loud, but you're not aware that you're laughing out loud because you got these earphones on, and people are, some of them are trying to sleep, and I'm going, ha, ha, ha! I see these people. Nothing's going on in the plane. God, that was wonderful stuff. You were doing the Sir Walter Raleigh, you were doing Abner Doubleday, you were doing all of the bus driver stuff. That stuff holds up forever.
Well, that's what's nice. I do that now we do the show in front of a live audience on Friday, and
do you do some of the routines?
I do warm up, and I decided to do some of the old routines, and they still hold up. And
but you also have a new generation of people.
Yeah.
Also, kids who didn't hear that at the time. To them, it's brand new, so nothing really changes. Now we see each other a bit socially, and I'm still smoking and not proud of it. I have made a number of abortive attempts to quit, and I'm going to get it. I know you've been off for, what, a year now?
I've been off a year. Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Well, I'll say one thing. When you're around, you're not one of those holier-than-thou people who, charge into everybody else and condemn them for
No,
smoking.
I don't preach. I'd be a hypocrite if I preached. But I was, first of all, the doctor said you can't have any more, and... he said, you've had your last cigarette. And I said, well, how about if I taper off? Like, say, I'll do like 2 packs for like 5 years, and then pack and a half for 5 years, and then...
He said no.
He said no, and it was something. Anyone who's thinking about giving it up, I didn't think I could ever do it,
and you did.
I put on 12 pounds, but I did it.
But that's not bad.
Now the hardest thing in giving it up, I gave it up in September last year. In December, I played golf with your producer, Mr.
Cordova,
who smokes a pack on the first tee.
Was he taking his practice swing?
Yeah, he takes a practice swing and goes like that, you know, and I'm diving in the bushes. There's still a couple good putts. But it's a minefield, you know, and I mean, if you make it through the minefield, and most people don't, but if you make it through, I think it's wonderful. I mean, I'm one of the people who the doctor said you can't have
That's
it.
That's it? Yeah. Great. I think it's great. We'll take a short break. We're coming right back. Did you used to work in a burlesque house, Tommy? That's night. That's the song that dancers use a lot of time. Night Train.
Misspent youth.
Did you ever play in a place that had strippers?
My first job was working for an underwater stripteaser.
Wait a second. Wait a minute. An underwater striptease? Where was this?
In Baltimore. She worked in a plexiglass tank. Her name was Divina.
Divina? Divina? She'd go into this water and strip underneath the water.
Yes, and she lived through every performance.
You weren't in the bubble with her, were you? I mean, you were outside playing?
No, we had 3 instruments, sax, drums, and piano.
Divina. The things you find out after all this time. Did you ever work your comedy act where they featured? I used to in the Midwest. When I was doing comedy, magic, and ventriloquism, I always get booked out of Kansas City or Omaha. And there would always be, I get a lot of those Elks Club and Rotary stag parties. And they didn't want to see you. I'd say, now, somebody will take a card. Get off the stage! And I was working with, I remember the lady's name. One of them was quite well known. Jenny Boom Boom. Well, whatever, that's enough. Those were tough shows.
You don't have to know much more than that.
Those were tough because they didn't come to see you, and you're up there trying to do your funny little jokes, and the guys want to see the girls. You never did that at all?
No, I was...
Because you started in Chicago.
Well, in like...
In Chicago, had a lot of...
Yeah, no, I started in like 19... I played a club. It wasn't a strip club. It was like they had this... it was like a throwback to the 30s. They had this line of girls, and I went out and I died every night. I mean, just nothing. I had 20 minutes, and every night it died. And first guy came out and sang all the verses of Sorrento. You know.
I know that. Yeah, I know the club.
And I went out and died, and I said. So one night I cut it short because it was going really bad. You know, I said, "You've been a lovely audience," and I walked off, and. They all said, "Oh my God, he's off!" And they came running out. Da, 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 da. And the guy said, "This is in Windsor, Canada, Windsor, Ontario, Canada." He said, he was a German guy. He said, "You gotta do 20 minutes. Gives the girls time to change." I said, "But I'm dying out there, you know. I mean, there's no point in staying out. I did my strongest stuff, and they didn't care for that, so I'm sure it's not going to get better." He said, "You have to do 20 minutes."
So he went back out and did 20 minutes. You mentioned during the break that Teresa has been on one of your shows.
Teresa was on our show. She's
Teresa
wonderful.
Teresa Genzel, who's going to come out a little while later in the show, is a marvelous comedian. She really...
She fell in love with Larry, Daryl, and Daryl.
Funny. Those guys are funny guys.
It was an unrequited love.
Now, I've known you for 20, 25 years, something like that. You have, and I don't say this as any kind of a put-down, you have that kind of every man's face. I mean, you've been on television for years, and I'll still bet when you go out, a lot of times, people know you, but sometimes don't say, is that true?
Yeah, they don't know, they're not quite sure if they see me on television, or a lot of people think they were in the Army with me, you know, or a lot of women think I was their first husband. You know? Weren't you? No, I'm sorry. Where do I know you from?
Does that bother you?
Well, now, sometimes people would say, well, see, they'll say, boy, you sure look like him.
Oh.
You know. Well, now you have to say, I am him. You know, which I find so. I say, yeah, I know. I've been told that a lot, and it's.
You sound presumptuous.
I said, the guy has ruined my life. You know.
Yeah. I'm him. We're going to take a break. We have Sandra Santiago, and then Teresa will join us for a little bit of talk. So here we are.